said he's been liking some of the just the impacts on some collisions and things like. You're seeing some guys playing with purpose and starting to feel comfortable in the defense. Is that what you were seeing too?
Yeah, I mean, with the reps, I mean, with all the reps that we're taking, and the coach is doing a great job. You guys saw today, so many guys are moving different positions and playing around with the combinations that, you know, it's only natural. The more times they do it, the more comfortable they get. But it's still about the process. You know, that's the biggest thing I want to see. I can't tell. I mean, you can always see who makes plays here and there, like the wide open plays. But I want to see, you know, are we lining up right? Are we making the correct tight call? Are we in the correct shades and gaps? You know what I mean? Like, are they looking at things the right way in the first blink? You know, those kind of things, because then it comes down to, like, we're going to act that way no matter who we play, no matter where we are, you know, no matter what time of day we play. So those are things I'm trying to make sure that we act right and do first.
Jordan?
Following up on that, it seemed like the guys had a really good understanding of the communications and the play calls. I know coaches don't like to put expectations on their players, but are you surprised at how well the guys are picking up this new defense?
No, I mean, we got some really, really good coaches, some of the best in the country, and you know, they're really good coaches because they're really good teachers, you know. And so we go in there and we put our heads together and we sit down and we hash things out and we talk about things first, and then again, I keep saying that we're at the process, right? And then we take it from our defensive staff room and then go into the position groups, and those guys are doing a really good job. And then again, it's all about the players, right? Those guys are coming in here early and often and extra, and it's shown. The guys who are playing the fastest, it's no coincidence at any point in the day you walk around on the third floor and you see them up there. You see them getting with one-on-one meetings. You see them asking for help. You see them wanting the extra time with coaches. So it's great, but I mean, it needs to get better. I mean, we give up the very first play we're out there, we give up a touchdown because we don't get the guy covered. So, I mean, there's plenty of stuff that we need to do better, but just the initial effort by everybody has been good. It needs to keep on improving them.
Correct.
There was a decent amount of production on the defensive line. You kind of had to replace off last year's team, but I noticed a lot of guys making plays in that unit today. I guess how impressive you've been, just how many guys are making an impact there.
Yeah, credit. I mean, again, credit to T. Knight. He's got the group probably more so working on their connection and their chemistry. You know, that group. First of all, you walk into the D-line room and it looks like a Costco down in there. There's honey buns, there's Twinkies, there's Skittles, there's all kinds of stuff for those guys. So no wonder why they're paying attention. They want to go to position meetings all the time. But no, those guys are moving around. He's doing a great job of putting in different groups. I don't even know who's going in the game. Like, I'll call a certain grouping, and I just sit there and I look at him, and he's on his list. I don't know how he generates his list, and then he'll throw different combinations of guys at different places. So a lot of guys getting good work, a lot of guys getting good experience, and I think seeing that the guys know, hey, at any point in time I could go in the game. I could go in the game at any position. So it heightens their awareness to learning in the classroom and on the field.
Last week you obviously mentioned Elijah in the linebacker room. We talked to Coach Norvell, mentioned Stephon, and even looked like Juice Cryer was making some plays. Just seeing their development as a unit and what they did today throughout spring, how's that been?
Yeah, I don't know the plays. I mean, I remember Juice making a couple really nice plays. He ran over the back on the last play I saw over there. I mean, Elijah, you know, I looked up a couple times. They tried to throw his man downfield, and he's blanked all over. That linebacker group, that was probably the first group that when I got here and started installing defense, that group was the group that it felt the closest initially, and then those guys were like meeting as a group extra. JP had them going. Great job with Ernie as well. You know, mentoring those guys and keeping those guys close. It's a fun group to be around. You got a lot of different personalities, but a lot of good production in that group. A lot of versatility. You guys saw I don't even know what positions they were playing. You know, JP is throwing them around. He's kind of the same way as T. Knight was. I'm looking over there. I call a group and I'm looking, and it's like, all right, I want this guy here, this guy here, this guy here. And it's like, all right, let's rock. So it's fun to watch them, but again, just got to keep on continuing to grow. Yeah.
Brendan?
2 questions, kind of in one, so 2 for 1 star.
Okay, 2 for 1, guys.
The takeaways and a couple seemingly impactful turnovers that were created. What are your thoughts on where that is, and then the response to those, like seeing guys react and teammates be happy for each other?
Yeah.
Do you like what you're seeing there?
Yeah, I mean, they spend too many hours in the weight room, in the classroom, practicing drills, off-season stuff, to not celebrate victories. You know what I mean? And when those guys get a chance to go out there and make plays, like I saw the one I think it was Amari tipped the ball, and then KJ scored, and you see everybody there, and then everybody on the sideline just cleared out and just ran there to celebrate with them. Man, you better do that. I mean, you better celebrate victories around here. It's winning and having fun is hard to do. You know what I mean? So it was fun to watch them. It's definitely fun to watch those guys celebrate together and make some plays. But again, all in good context, right? Like we had one where I think we had a big hit, and a couple guys ran onto the field from the sideline, and you know that's unrealistic. You know what I mean? Like we're gonna get flagged for that kind of stuff. So again, it's all fun and games. Guys having fun, celebrate with their teammates, but there's a process to everything.
That's one.
You got so many young guys at cornerback specifically, they played football and maybe haven't started a lot of games.
Mm-hmm.
Like, where's your confidence level in guys like you? I know you talked about your grill, but a guy like Charles Lester Jr., very heralded. Where are you at right now in terms of confidence in your cornerback?
Yeah, I think that's the group. You know, it's hard to tell because those guys have been moving around a little bit, different combinations. You know, some injuries there as well. You know, assignment-wise, corner is not as mentally hard, assignment-wise, but it's probably the hardest position to play because a lot of times that's the first person you see getting beat one-on-one. You know what I mean? Everybody's blaming the corner for stuff, but technique-wise and just all eyes on, that's probably the hardest position to play. So, you know, I got a lot of respect for the corners in this defense because a lot of times, you know, they're locked up one-on-one, man-to-man. And you saw how many shots, like guys like Duty did a great job. I mean, how many times did they throw the ball up to Duty one-on-one? You know what I mean? And I think he won all of them. You know what I mean? Freshman there, so you got a lot of talent. Just got to continue to grow that position. I got Kai. Kai made some good plays in there. Charles, you know, I know he got rolled up on, but he's walking around and all that kind of stuff. So it was good to see him make a couple plays in there. But again, like we got to continue to develop that position to see who's going to be the guy. You know, Jabril was starting to take off. Q, you can see him getting comfortable and stuff and changing coverages and moving around a little bit more. So just got a work in progress with that group.
You mentioned KJ Sampson before. You know, he's been here a couple of years, but they've had so many guys ahead of him. How big is the opportunity ahead of him, and do you think he's realizing that he could be a dude this year, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I didn't know anybody, you know what I mean? So when we came over here and tore duties and stuff, you saw a big body who can actually move, who's twitchy, you know, and you're looking at him, you're like, well, why are you not the guy? You know what I mean? Like, why not? And you see just the inconsistencies early on in spring ball. You know, he's a big twitchy guy, but you know, you got to play when it's time to play big. You got to play big. You know what I mean? And then when it's time to be twitchy and move around, then you do that, and he's capable of doing that. You know, and I think a guy who sometimes we forget that even though they're older guys, experience-wise, they haven't played very much, so they're like freshmen. You know what I mean? In terms of being on the grass and playing wise, so he's a guy who continues to elevate his game, and he was challenged. You know, I mean, he was challenged by myself. You know, T Knight, to say, hey man, like you are a really, really good athlete. You are a big, twitchy, physical athlete. Be that guy. Just go out there and put it on display. And it's fun. It was fun to watch him make a play and build that confidence up because we're gonna need him. We're gonna need him to play. We're gonna need him to be his best. You know, with all the guys who are moving around, you never know injuries, all that kind of stuff. We need to play a lot of guys. So he's gonna be one that has to step up, and he played well today.
Peter?
Following up on KJ, so you mentioned about having him to seeing that how great he is, what he can be. Just what is something that you feel like he should have to adjust, or was something that you wanted to see so he can get to that next step?
Yeah, I want him to play physical. You know, the first thing we're gonna do around here is play physical on defense. Like I don't care about how many sacks a guy has. I don't care about that. Like they don't. You know, it's just a pride thing. Like people don't run the ball on us. You know what I mean? And for that to happen, the guys up front need to play big. And so I think that again, it was fun to watch those guys because it felt like they were challenged by T Knight and they responded. You know, they responded in there for the most part. You know, there's some breakdowns in there, but they responded. And for a guy like KJ, you know, he's 300 pounds and he can move and he can twitchy. I get all that stuff. I get if we get teams into situations where they got to throw the ball, we have plenty of pass rushers. We have plenty of guys who can be on edges and beat guys with speed and all that kind of stuff. I want to see you take on a block, play with dominant contact, lock out with extension, throw his ass to the side, and I want to make a tackle. That's what defensive linemen do. You know what I mean? You play with a damn attitude. It starts up front. So I want to see him do that consistently because he can and he should. So it was fun, and like I said, you know, through the course of the practices, you see him gaining confidence in doing that. You know what I mean? And so we'll watch the tape and see if we're correct. But you know, you don't get an interception like that for a touchdown if you're not in the right spot. So it looked like he was doing something right. So.
Brandon?
When we spoke to you last week, it seemed like a lot of teaching points were confidence related, you know, not to be able to bounce back after a bad play. I guess since then, since the first scrimmage, how have you seen that apply this last week or so?
Yeah, I mean, really, really good in terms of, you know, again, two things that I think are showing up a little more. Their consciousness of situations. You know what I mean? Like, one, we got to be better teachers, right? We got to be better teachers and teach the game of football. Like, there's so much I'm learning. You know, I'm learning every day something new about the game of football. It's like, you got to teach them the situations of the game. Like, again, and this goes back to even Coach Norvell giving us the situations ahead of time. Hey, we're going to work this situation like today was overtime. So it gives us a chance now to, when we were in unit meeting today, go over overtime. And it's crazy because you assume just everyone knows, but they didn't. You said, hey, okay, who's going to do this? And they're like, this is it right here. This is what we're supposed to do right here. Overtime. It is A, B, C, D, and E. Does everybody understand? This is what we're going to do today. So then we got into the overtime period, and it was like, no big deal. Like, we understand what's happening. We got you. I mean, and those little things have been happening over the course of the first half of spring, where it's like, all right, we're in the red zone. What does red zone mean to the offense, and how are we going to play good red zone defense? You know what I mean? Short yardage goal line. What does that mean? Red zone. What does that mean? 2-minute drill. What does that mean? Middle eight. What does that mean? You know what I mean? So all these situations are coming up, and whereas before it's kind of like, okay, you know, what's going on today? And it's like, hey, we're in overtime. Okay, this is it. We're gonna see who gets the ball. We're gonna go on defense first. We're gonna go down here. Okay, ball's on 25. Let's rock and roll. Da, 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 da. So it's like, okay, you can see a calmness on the sideline. So got to continue to do that. Continue to put those guys in those situations, so that way we know how to act and nothing's a surprise. So we just go out there and play.
Corey?
How much, they run a lot of, they just get the ball out wide a lot, try to take advantage of pass rushes, through screens this way or that way. How much can you tell about an effort of a defense watching the film, pursuing a screen pass?
Yeah.
And if you like what you see, did you like what you saw today?
Well, I mean, just off the first blink, like, you know, I don't think very many screen passes got out. So that's a testament to pursuit. You know, guys attacking, the guys who are closest at the point of attack, attacking the ball to make the screen jump around, slow down. And then when they miss the tackle, or, you know, when they're jumping around, you see pursuit go there and get them on the ground. You know, there was a lot of screens today in all different shapes, size, forms, throwing at the different people, and it felt like we always had bodies around the ball out there on the perimeter. You know what I mean? So I gotta watch the tape. I couldn't tell, but it felt like no screen jumped out of there and it was able to get out of there. So I gotta go back and watch it.
I guess, are those teaching moments though to show the team, because it seemed like, it wasn't a criticism, it did seem like you guys did a really good job pursuing.
Oh no.
Is that something great to show the team, like this is what it's supposed to look
100%. Yeah, I mean, there are a million teaching moments out there. You know what I mean, a million of them. Like, and those are some of the best ones, right? Like, when it's reinforced, you can talk about anything all you want to. They see it on the grass. I mean, they see what you're talking about on the grass. You can't fake that. And when you can show them how much effort and physicality and aggression can make up for maybe not being in the right gap or missing a naming point or being behind on a play, when those things are highlighted, there's a belief that spreads like, hey, I can do this. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of plays where, like, you just literally made the play because you just outworked or out-efforted somebody else. Not because that was the right call, not because it was the right technique. You just went out there and out-willed everybody. You know what I mean? So we highlight that as much as we can, because that's in those championship games and those big games, that's what it's going to come down to. When talent meets talent, it's who's willing to put it on the line the most. So.
Jordan?
Following up on that, and I could be wrong on this, but it seemed like you were more upset after a couple positive plays than even some negative ones. Why is it important for your team to respond to success just the same way that they would respond to failure?
You caught that, huh?
I heard you barking, so yeah.
Yeah.
I wrote in my notes.
It's a process, man. Like, you know, again, it took me 16 years, you know, being around, you know, Coach Rule, and that's the greatest thing about him. You know, he really got me invested in the process, meaning like you're not looking at the result, you're looking at everything right before the result, because the result will take care of itself if the process is correct. You know what I mean? And so like positive play, yeah, you know, we get a sack or a TFL or something, the offense is on the ball. Like we're looking around, we're celebrating, the offense is on the ball, and we're not even conscious that, hey, they're lining up to go again. You know what I mean? And a couple times you saw like we lined up off sides or hands to the face because we're not even down in the stand, so his hand shoots up or whatever like that. You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm talking about. Like, hey, great, but it's got to be that what's next mentality. Like, hey, what is next play? Like, let me line up and go. You know what I mean? And so those are the things that again, learning moment for guys out there playing defense and stuff like that. Like, it does not matter what happened, whether it's a sack or we give a big play. You line up and you play the next play as hard as you possibly can, and we do that long enough, and we'll be okay.
We'll do two more. Aslan?
Coach, I was not out there today, but it sounded like Coach Malzahn was saying that when the offense got kind of on the plus side of the field, you guys were able to kind of bow up a little bit. I think you mentioned last week that you're telling these guys, you saw that kind of, oh, here we go again mentality, but you want them to be able to flush it, reset. What did you see out of your defense in terms of being able to kind of backs against the wall, rise up, if that did happen?
Yeah, I know. I just saw a couple times that they felt calm today. Like they didn't feel like looking around. They just kind of said, okay, you know, relax. Kind of again, what's next? Get the call. Start the process over again. Communicate with your teammate. Have your eyes in the right spot. Be in a good stance. Trust your training. And the ball was snapped. And there was some guys that made some plays. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to go back and see. Remember off the top of my head, there's a couple times on those ones that are in the fringe or the sudden change, you know, on the plus 40 or whatnot, that all it takes is one guy to make a play. You know what I mean? Just one time, one guy to make a play, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, we're back in this. You know what I mean? And so you got to have those moments. You know, you got to have those moments. And the greatest thing that we can do as coaches is calm them down, right? Because you don't want that negative momentum to take over, and now they're like, oh, whatever, and all of a sudden it just hits. You got to have a bunch of guys out there that are just like water, just very calm and saying, okay, next play. So.
Brendan, last one.
The Desser brothers, asking this with a caveat, I know they're true freshmen, but they seemed impactful today.
Yeah.
I noticed them a few times. Like for those guys to be as far along as they are,
Yeah.
you just talked about their play.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, they are some of the funniest people to be around. They are just truly like a joy to be around. You know, they love life. They love being with their teammates. They just, you know, they love being coached hard. You know what I mean? Like, it's just true testament to the way they're raised and the people they've been around. And then for them to come into a program and, you know, you never know with a freshman, right? You just never know. And for those guys to come in here and you guys saw, I mean, they're very good football players. I mean, they play physical. They got enough pass rush to hurt you in the pass rush game, but they're stout against the run. You know, they play with their hands. They're physical, and they like mixing it up in there. You know what I mean? So it's good to have them. We're really lucky to have those guys, and they're great in the locker room. You know what I mean? They're just fun to be around. Like I'm just mad because they keep finding me in there. D-line has this fine board, and they just keep making up fines for me. So I owe this astronomical number of dollars in there, which it's them. It's funny that they run the fine board in the room, but they're freshmen, they're clowns in there. So, but I love those guys.
We'll do one more.
On the other side of the ball, how much of a challenge does it create a coordinator when you know trying to get hats on hats, but then you have quarterbacks like Tommy and even Sperry, the young kid, like,
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of makes the math not work sometimes. Maybe how challenging
Yeah,
is that?
very, very challenging. I just said this coming off the field. I'm like, we have defensively wise. I don't. There's some formations that we didn't even have labeled in there that I have to figure out how to call it just from seeing what Gus and those guys are doing over there. You know, schematically wise, they have so much variety. You know, and then anytime you're +1, anytime that quarterback can move around and run like that, like you have to have a plan for him. And so it's just making it. Again, comes back to the iron sharpens iron deal. Like that's what we have to see all the time. So, you know, you get in games, and if their quarterback can't run like those guys, then we should have an advantage, right? Because we see a +1 guy every practice, every rep. So it's truly challenging for what they're able to do. And like I said, there's some times where I don't think we have them. I know they blew the whistle, but I don't think we have them. Like it was a big play. Both those guys. I mean, Kev too. Like he can get out and go. And Tommy's so damn explosive. I mean, he just, you know, he can do it. So it's just, again, it's fun, right? It's truly iron sharpens iron over there, both schematically and personality wise with those guys. Just having to deal with all the multitude of stuff you have to defend. You know, it's good. It keeps you sharp as a DC.
Thanks, guys.